It all began on a quiet evening in a little cafe by the city park, warm lights, soft music, and the clinking of cups filling the air. Among all the chatter sat a young woman named Lila, her hands nervously folded on her lap, her heart racing with a mix of hope and fear. It was her first date in 2 years. Lila was deaf. She had lost her hearing at 12 after a severe illness. Yet she had learned to read lips perfectly, communicate with gestures, and live with courage most people never see. She had met Ryan through a mutual friend, handsome, confident, always joking in messages. Tonight, she was hopeful. Maybe this was her chance to feel normal again, to be seen not as someone broken, but as a woman who could love and be loved. But as soon as Ryan walked in, things didn't go as she imagined. He waved, sat down, and started talking fast. His lips moved quickly, too quickly for her to catch. She gestured to him softly, "Slow down." He frowned, confused. She picked up her phone and typed, "I'm deaf. I can read lips if you speak slowly." His expression shifted from curiosity to discomfort, then irritation. "Wait, what? You're deaf," he said, loudly enough that nearby tables looked over. Lila blushed, embarrassed. She nodded gently. Ryan leaned back, muttering under his breath, "You should have said that before. I mean, how's this supposed to work? I can't even talk to you properly." Lila typed quickly, "We can text while sitting here. Or write notes. Communication isn't just sound." He chuckled dryly. "Yeah, but this isn't what I signed up for. I wanted to talk, to actually talk. Not this." The people at the next table started whispering. Lila tried to stay calm, her hands trembling slightly. She reached for her coffee, but her grip was weak, and the cup slipped, spilling across the table, dripping down onto the floor. The whispers turned into small laughs. Ryan sighed dramatically. "You know what? I think I'm done. This is too awkward." And with that, he stood, muttered something about wasting his time, and walked out, leaving her sitting there, eyes burning, heart sinking. The cafe suddenly felt too loud, too bright. Everyone seemed to be staring. Lila quickly grabbed napkins, trying to clean the spill, blinking away tears. Then, from across the cafe, a small voice said, "Daddy, why is that lady crying?" Lila looked up. A little girl, no older than 6, was staring at her with innocent concern. Beside her sat a man in his late 30s, in a simple gray shirt, his eyes kind but tired, the kind of tired that came from carrying both responsibility and love. He looked at Lila, then at the mess on the table, and stood. He walked over slowly, kneeling beside her table, picking up a few napkins. And then, he did something no one else had ever done in public before. He signed, "Are you okay?" he asked, his fingers gentle and clear in the language of her world. Lila froze. Her eyes widened, disbelief flooding her face. She hadn't met anyone outside the deaf community who used sign language so fluently. She hesitated, then signed back shakily, You know sign language?" He smiled softly. "My daughter is deaf," he signed, nodding toward the little girl, who waved from across the cafe. "I learned for her." Lila's eyes filled with tears again, but these were different. Warm. Healing. He signed again, "Don't worry about the coffee. Don't worry about them. You did nothing wrong." And for the first time that night, Lila smiled. The man introduced himself, Daniel. He invited her to join them at his table. She hesitated at first, but the little girl, Emma, patted the chair beside her, signing sweetly, "Come sit with us." Lila sat down, still nervous, but soon the warmth between them melted the tension. Emma showed her drawings on the napkins. Daniel told stories about how Emma once tried to teach their dog to sit in sign language, and Lila laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. Daniel's eyes lingered on her smile. There was something about it, fragile, but bright, like sunlight after a storm. He couldn't understand how someone who had faced so much could still smile like that. When they finished their coffee, Daniel offered to walk her home. Along the way, they passed through the park. The wind was soft, the lights golden through the trees. Lila sighed, "Most people think silence is empty. But for me, it's peace." Daniel nodded. Silence isn't empty. It's full of what words can't say. That night, he drove home thinking of her. She, too, went to bed replaying his smile, the way his hands moved like music she could feel. Days turned into weeks. They started meeting often, sometimes with Emma, sometimes alone. Daniel learned more signs from Lila, and she found herself laughing more than she ever had. What began as comfort slowly bloomed into something neither of them expected. But life tested them again. One evening, Lila invited Daniel and Emma to a restaurant that had open seating. When they arrived, a few people from Daniel's office happened to be there. They saw him signing with Lila and started snickering. One of them whispered, "Didn't know you were dating someone who can't even talk." Lila saw it. She froze, her heart sinking back to that painful cafe night. Daniel noticed her trembling hands. He stood up, calm but firm, and turned to them. "She speaks in a language that takes heart to learn," he said. "And you? You speak without ever listening." The table went silent. He turned back to Lila and signed, "You don't have to hide who you are. The world needs to learn to listen, not you to speak." She looked at him, and that moment changed everything.